up one on top of the other.
Yeah.
You figure it out, Dean.
Telling you. I don't know. They may hear us and they, it's like when you order something once, you get 27 emails about it.
All right. Are we live?
Okay. Yes, we are now live.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Community Board 10 Brooklyn's General Meeting, June 21st, 2021. And what happened?
Oh, wait, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Hold on one second. Okay, we're live on YouTube and okay, I don't know what I touched, but go right
I'll just
ahead.
start again. It's fine. So welcome everyone to Community Board 10 Brooklyn's June 21st, 2021 General Board Meeting. This is via Zoom and live streamed via YouTube. I'd like to start the meeting this evening with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do. However, we are going to do something we haven't done in a little while, which is to do the honor of the pledge. And that will be led by Michael Devine. As most of you know, he is an outgoing board member who has made great contributions to Community Board 10, and we would like to honor him. So Michael, if you would like to lead us in saying the pledge.
Sure, everybody. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag
Of the
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I would like to continue the meeting. Before we move on to the adoption of the agenda, I would like to have a moment of silence for our board member, Susan Pulaski, who very unexpectedly passed away. And as on Josephine has on the graphic, Susan served in many capacities on the board. She was a longtime member. She contributed greatly. She had a wonderful historic knowledge of so many things that went on, and we will miss her. She was always there. She showed up all the time. She was the chair of Police and Public Safety Committee when I started. She headed up subcommittees, and I mean, she volunteered right up to the very end. And it was very sudden and unexpected, and we will miss her. I would like to move to the adoption of the agenda.
It's Joe. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. And an adoption of the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. And do we have a second? Judy,
So
thank
moved.
you. Okay, before we move on to the public session, I would like to invite Michael, since he's moving on to a new home. Just if you want to say a few words, Michael, before we open it up to everyone else. We will miss you, and we thank you for all your hard work. You really pitched in on a lot of very big projects, for which I am personally thankful. You really helped out.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to miss everybody a lot. It's been great being part of the board and meeting so many new people and being part of the community and contributing as much as I can. Yeah, I'm definitely going to miss it. You know, I will definitely come back and visit and hopefully pop by the office and bug Josephine and Dorothy a few more times as I come through. And hopefully see Josephine if she comes down to Philly to visit every now and again. But
Thank you, Michael.
It's been great working with you all. And, you know, I wish you all the best of luck. And there's a lot of hard work ahead, as always, on the community board. So keep it up.
Good luck, Michael.
Thank you so much. And we are sorry to lose you, but I wish you luck in your new home. And you'll come back and visit. You have to come back to Brooklyn. Okay, so now I would like to move on to the public session. We are going to, once again, try to limit this to a maximum of 10 minutes in total. Whether or not we will succeed, we'll see. So the first person I'd like to invite to speak this evening who has signed up is Edward Cerna of the Mayor's Office, the Brooklyn Borough Director.
Good evening, everyone. Edward Cerna, Brooklyn Borough Director for the Mayor's Office. Good evening. I want to quickly start by just providing everyone with a vaccination update. As of today, we've surpassed the 9 million mark of doses that we've administered. We've been doing a lot of efforts, including launching the referral bonus program, which will allow us to partner with community-based organizations, houses of worship, and resident associations in NYCHA to give them funding so that they can do the work of helping their neighbors get vaccinated. So that's just a quick update on what we're doing on the vaccine front. If you still haven't been vaccinated, you can go to nyc.gov/vaccine finder or by calling 877-VAX4-NYC. Secondly, tomorrow is primary election day. It's the first time we're going to use ranked choice voting. So definitely encouraging everyone to go make your voices be heard. Today, the mayor announced that over about 40% of New York City small businesses are still closed. And so we're launching New York City Business Quick Start, which is going to help our businesses and any New Yorkers who want to start a business sort of do that quickly. There's 3 sort of commitments as part of that program. The first one is we're going to create a small business concierge that when you engage the city will be sort of dedicated to you to help you through all of the processes and the red tape to get you the answers that you need so that you can open the doors of your business as quickly as possible. Secondly, we're guaranteeing that any small business owner who calls the city with a problem will get a turnaround time of 48 hours for their response. As we know, sometimes you call and you don't get an answer and you have to keep calling. But again, this is a commitment that the mayor is making that will answer these requests within 48 hours. And thirdly, to make sure that that takes place, we're committing $11 million to this initiative so that we pull folks from all the agencies and have over 100 dedicated personnel across, again, city agencies to make sure that we're moving inquiries and applications forward. So if you're a small business owner or you want to start one, you can call 800-SPS4-NYC or by going to nyc.gov/business. Lastly, on the crime front, we've seen sort of a decline on folks that are calling the TIPS hotline, but it's very integral for community to engage the city when it comes to policing. And so we announced today that we're increasing the rewards for Crime Stoppers. If you have seen something or heard of something and of a crime and you call the hotline that leads, as you know, to an arrest, the reward is being increased from $2,500 to $3,500. So again, these are some of the things that the mayor is doing to bring back our city. Not just to where we were, but better. So if you have any questions, you can always reach me at ecerna@cityhall.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next to speak, we have Donald DeRosa from Comptroller Scott Stringer's office.
My summer parting gift to the community board is that I have no announcements to make. So I just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy summer and looking forward to seeing everyone come September.
Thank you very much. And now we have Jane Duong from Senator Andrew Gennardis's office. Are you still with us?
Jane?
I don't have Okay, we will come back. We have Nancy Lulu from the Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez's office next to speak.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I would like to extend greetings on behalf of DA Gonzalez to everyone. I also would like to wish all the fathers and father figures out there a happy belated Father's Day and hope you enjoyed. And also, I would like to wish everyone a happy Pride Month. Also, just a couple of announcements. On May 19th, DA Gonzalez and staff were in Bay Ridge with the Met Council and Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens, as well as Senator Gennardis was there to battle hate and hunger in New York at the Hate Has No Home food distribution event, where our office provided information and some of the resources the Brooklyn DA's offices offer. It was actually very lovely to be in Bay Ridge, and it was a pleasure to see Senator Gennardis. On May 25th, 2021, District Attorney Eric Gonzalez announced a community-led safety initiative with the 67 Precinct Clergy Council, the God Squad, and the neighboring Clergy Council to curb gun violence in Brooklyn. As we enter summer months, working together with community members and the NYPD and faith leaders, the DA's office and Clergy Council will endeavor to provide support and guidance to at-risk youth and offer assistance in several high crime precincts to strengthen trust between communities and law enforcement as part of a holistic approach to reduce crime and breaking the recurring cycle of violence and criminal justice involvement. DA Gonzalez firmly believes that public safety is a shared community and a shared responsibility. June marks Gun Violence Awareness Month. Just in Brooklyn, we've lost too many lives to senseless gun violence. At the Brooklyn DA's office, we're pursuing a multi-tiered strategy to keep our communities safe from gun violence, the gun violence epidemic that curbs our city. We're breaking up gun trafficking rings. We're vigorously prosecuting shooters, and we're working closely with communities to prevent violence and mediate disputes. We also provide resources to our young people and gun violence survivors. And with that, I would like to conclude by reminding everyone with the Action Center's phone number, if there's a matter you would like to address with our office, to please call 718-250-2340. And if I could be of any assistance, you could reach me at lulu@brooklynda.org. Thank you, Community Board 10, for allowing me to speak this evening. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. And now we have Assemblyman Michael Tanusis.
Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to speak. I just want to let you guys know my internet is not that great, so just in case I get kicked off again. But I just wanted to send my greetings. I know that Basil from my office is on the call. I know that Hanan Debajad is also, my chief of staff, has also been on the call. First 6 months in office, we just ended legislative session last week. But within the first 6 months in office, I'm really trying to make constituent services the hallmark of my office. So as you know, we have the joint office with Congresswoman Malliotakis on 3rd Avenue. I encourage everyone on the call, if you have constituent concerns, to call my office at 718-987-0197. Office is open every day, or you can even visit the office on 3rd Avenue. We're trying to do everything we can to sort through all the constituent issues. And as you know, we're obviously at a time when constituent issues evolve as we're coming out of the COVID pandemic and new issues are forming. So with that being said, I just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy and safe upcoming summer, and to please contact my office with any issues that I can help you with. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Assemblyman. Now we have Frank Fontana from the New York City Department of Buildings.
Hey, it's David Nussbaum. Frank's not
sorry,
here today.
David.
Hi, Lori. Hi,
Hi,
Josephine. Hi, everybody. Just another reminder, I know everybody knows this by now, or should know this, that local law 152, which is the required gas inspections for most buildings other than 1 and 2 family homes. The deadline for Community Board 10 is the end of this month. That was an extension that was put in, or was originally due December 31st last year. So just to, remind people that they need to get that done. you're not sure what that is, you could certainly go to our website, and all that information is there. But the most important thing is to hire a licensed plumber, and they'll certainly know what to do. The only other quick thing is, now we're probably well into air conditioning season already. We just remind people that if you're installing air conditioners and windows, to follow whatever manufacturer's guidelines are. You could usually look that up on the internet if you don't still have the manual. Don't prop things up with bricks and other things that, certainly could fall down in a building in particular and hurt someone. And that's about it. Just wish everyone a healthy and happy summer.
Thank you very much. And now we have Francis Genti. I'm sorry, Assemblyperson Francis Genti.
I'm representing Assembly Member Frontis.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. I just have your, now I see your name, Francois. Okay, I apologize.
That's totally fine. Totally fine. Hi, I bring greetings from Assembly Member Matilde Frontis. I'm her Chief of Staff, Francois Genti. We are just happy and ecstatic for a whole bunch of exciting things that have been happening in our district and in our office. We recently had a job fair. As you know, a lot of people have unfortunately lost their jobs or have been furloughed off their jobs due to the pandemic. And we've been having an aggressive initiative to get people back in jobs as stores are beginning to open up and the world is beginning to open up. We recently had a job fair where during the job fair, we had about 10 plus interviews scheduled on the spot. So that was pretty exciting. We plan to do a few more. So if anybody's interested, I will leave my email in the chat. So if you can contact Josephine, she has my number. We could definitely get in touch with our office. No problem. We have no problem responding. We also recently had an award ceremony where we honored some pillars in the Bay Ridge community for their acts of service. It was called Men of Service. It was last week, Thursday. The names escape me right now, but we had that, and we have a couple of more initiatives to come. We plan on visiting all the senior centers. The Assembly member is really excited that things are opening up, but also with precaution. So again, our office is open, both of our offices, Coney Island and in Bay Ridge. Again, some of you may not know, we have moved. We're no longer on 86th Street. We are now on 93rd and 3rd Avenue, across the street, directly across the street from the Prince Hotel. So you guys could kind of check in with us there. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, the Assembly member is more than happy to help. Just reach out to our office and we'll be more than happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now circling back to Jane Duong from Senator Andrew Gennardis's office. Do we have you this time, Jane? Ah, there you are.
Yes.
Great. I'm not sure why my audio didn't work earlier. So this is Jane. I'm the district director at Senator Andrew Gennardis's office. Just have a few announcements regarding the upcoming events from our office, including the community cleanups. We have that from May throughout the summer into September, and the schedules is on our Facebook and on our website. You can check it out, and if you can join, or if you know anyone who can join the community cleanup, please feel free to come on the day off. And we also have yoga in the park in Shore Road Park at 79th Street. The first one started last Saturday, and throughout the summer, we're gonna have all the fitness classes, including yoga and full body assault in the park. So definitely check out our schedule. And we're also very happy to announce that the concert is coming back this year. And we are partnering with NIA and Councilman Justin Brennan's office. The first concert is gonna start in mid-July. we're going to have 6 concerts in Shoreville Park this year. And then the last event that I want to mention is that this weekend, we're going to have a wellness weekend, which includes whole day events that has, for example, Narrows Botanical Garden tour. We're going to have Tai Chi class in Bensonhurst, and we're going to have fitness class in Marine Park. So all the information is also on our social media. If you're interested or your family members are interested, definitely join us. And another update that I want to mention is that the Senate and the Assembly passed the SLEEP Act, which will raise the fine for car owner who intentionally mess with their muffler in the car to make loud noises, when they drive. And hopefully, it's called a sleep bill. Hopefully that it will bring everybody a good night of sleep. So that's the update from our office. And I will put out my email on the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we have Aidan Strongreen from Congresswoman Malliotakis's office.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself because I'll be on here. I know Kathy from our office was typically on here, but I'll be taking over going forward in September. So I just wanted to introduce myself and just let everyone know if you ever need anything. As the Assemblyman said before, me and Basil are there at 7716 3rd Avenue, Monday through Friday. So anything you ever need. And I'll leave my contact information in the chat as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And now we have Morris Denmark from the Fort Hamilton Library branch.
Oh, thank you, Lori, and good evening to everyone, and happy summer solstice, the 21st. It's the longest day of the year. Anyway, okay, so the library is slowly reopening again. And if you've been to the library recently, you've noticed that there have been no chairs to sit in because we don't want people lingering about. But now the chairs are coming back. And hopefully by the day after the 4th of July, when we reopen to the public after the holiday, there will be chairs available in every library once again. And on July 17, we will have new hours. The library will be, of course, open. All libraries will be open 6 days a week. And I've posted the new library hours on the chat line. But of course, I didn't say that it was the library. But you'll see the new hours there. And generally, will be open from 10 to 6, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesdays, we will be open 1 to 8. Thursdays, we will be open 10 in the morning until 8 at night. And Saturday, of course, we will be open 10 to 5. So the library is reopening. The city is at 70%, and things are looking very good. And enjoy your summer. I'll see you in September. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we have Richard Day to speak about the Department of Sanitation curbside composting.
Oh, yes. All right, was that Doris? Thanks, Doris.
I don't know, we got a big shout out for that one. Somebody's very happy about this, Richard.
Great. So hey, everyone, Richard Day. Hopefully some of you guys recognize me as a fellow board member, but right now I'm here as a member of the Department of Sanitation. I'm just gonna give you an update on curbside composting. So for those who don't know, the curbside composting program allowed over 3.5 million New Yorkers to recycle their food scraps and yard waste and turn them into compost and clean energy using the brown bins that the city provided to them. So unfortunately, the program was suspended last year due to budget cuts, but I'm happy to announce that it's coming back this fall. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently this time around. So anyone who actually wants to participate will need to sign up through an online form or through 311. The form isn't live yet. It's going to go live in August. But if you go there right now to nyc.gov/curbside composting, you can basically sign up to be notified when the form does go live. I'll put that in the chat as well. Collections in eligible community districts are going to be starting in October on a rolling basis and expand with the number of signups. So service will expand each month as demand grows. So if you have any questions, I really encourage you to go to nyc.gov/curbside composting or to reach out to me at rday@dsny.nyc.gov. That's it. Thanks for your time.
Great, thank you so much, and good to see you. Wait, I have a question from a board member, Ann Falutico.
Sure.
Is the entire CB10 in possibility for the program?
Yep. Yeah, so anyone who receives collection from the Department of Sanitation is eligible. So commercial businesses can't, they're serviced by private carters, but if you're a 1 to 2 family home or a large apartment building or a nonprofit and you receive DSNY service, you're eligible for collection.
Okay. Thank you very much. And so I don't see any other questions. Okay. Now I believe we had a few members of the community who had signed up to speak. I have Francis El Said to speak about motorized bicycles.
Where is it? I don't see her on the attendee list, Lori.
Okay.
So if she gets here before the end, we'll put her on. So I guess we'll move to the next person, Florence.
Sure. I have Florence Diaz.
Okay, she is here and she's now allowed to speak. Florence, if you take yourself off mute, you should be able to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Before I begin and tell you what I'm here to speak about, I want to say hello to my dear friends, Judy and Doris. Hope to see you soon. I spoke to Josephine on Friday after a night out on 3rd Avenue at Zio Toto and told her about the total disaster I saw on 3rd Avenue for the 3 hours that I ate outside in a restaurant. And I'm just hoping that the community board can address the issue. Not only was there so much noise and so much traffic, but the part that really upset me the most was that for 3.5 hours, I never saw one police car or one police officer. And that to me is going to be a disaster on 3rd Avenue this summer if we don't see more police. There's too much congestion with the new outside restaurants and also with the cars, with the noise and the music, and then people just walking. So hopefully, I guess my question is, will we be seeing more police presence on 3rd Avenue with all of the confusion that's going on up there right now?
It's a very good question. And we will be discussing this in days to come. The regulation of the open restaurants right now, that's falling to Department of Transportation, and the rules are still being hammered out. So I guess we will all have to see. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I'm sure that based upon this, we will communicate with the police department to let them know your concerns and ask for more cars to go by. Josephine, if we can do that.
Yes, I will do that. Okay, so next we have Lori Wenting Chen. Hold on one moment. I'm just working on, I think I lost him. Oh, no, here we are. Okay. Okay, Mr. Chen.
Hey, ladies. Yes, Ms. Chen. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Yes, today we have 200,000 people die in the United States because of the COVID. And these people could be someone's future husband or wife. And it is important to share what I know as a general bachelor. And based on my research, it is important to set up like vacant hotels to separate people from infected people. Like, not that you are going to separate them. It's like those individuals that don't have a home to stay after they get infected, like a nurse those people who are in the front lights, they can reach out to those vacant hotel and make sure those hotel has 900p filter, which can filter the 0.1 millimeter of virus based on the research I know. And only the 900p filter can do that. And also make sure the fans blowing outside to create a low pressure environment so that the people inside can be safe, and also make sure that 70% and up alcohol supplies for those hotels that's needed for those situations, because we all know that there are already 7 types of variants virus is coming to New York City. New York City already developed their own variants, and Los Angeles, South Africa, England, Brazil, and coming up from India. We have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared, and not just only relying on vaccine. We have to be prepared to, based on my research from Hong Kong University, they find out that the exteriors of the mask can, once it's disconnected with oxygens and put it in the sealed environment for more than 7 days, the virus will die out. But now, because of the variant is coming, we don't know how many days it could be. So hopefully those people who know, who are able to do the test, scientists, join into this and have these data open up to the public and let the public be prepared. If not, at least we can put the mask into a sealed bag so that to limit the further mutate of the virus. Otherwise, when it's gonna be end, right? So, so I think I'm so gladful to be here, to be heard. I don't know where I can go to speak up to others. So it's really a hopeless hope to speak up in here. And thank you for all your attention. I really appreciated your time. And I'm so happy that the limited time has extended more than 2 minutes, because I remember I hear 2 minutes is like a far. This line was said in 1982 in one of the public conference before I born. Sadly, if this is still continue, nothing changed.
All right, thank you.
I don't know how the future generation will talk about that today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and thank you very much for speaking up. Next, we have Karla Puli. Karla, are you there?
Hi, Karla.
I'm here. You hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Good afternoon for everybody. Yeah, we here because we talked in the last meeting. Zoom is like the problem for allow music downstairs in the restaurant, and we're uncomfortable because we want to try, like, gentle, like we don't want any problem for nobody, but just we need to fix this problem because it's a lot of noise and the whole night in the morning too, the same thing. I don't know, maybe if you can try to help us, because I have my babies and my husband's working. We have to work too, and then we can sleep because it's a lot of noise out there. It's too
Okay,
loud.
I'm sorry, Karla. Where is this coming from? The noise?
It's to the restaurant, Batsy restaurant.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the name.
Bachi Restaurant on 3rd Avenue, Lori.
Oh, okay. Bachi Restaurant. So you're saying you have loud, you said loud music?
Yes.
Okay.
And I tried to figure it out with the owner or the manager. I don't know. We try, like, with the respect. I gone to downstairs so many times, and I say, please, you can put a little bit down the music, because I have my newborn and my other girl. She has to go to the school next year, but next day. I'm sorry, but he listened for a few minutes, and then he can continue, and he closed like at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. And the whole night he continued to put it a loud music, and then it's very, very bad for my family.
Okay, thank you very much for letting us know. And we will certainly bring this up and look into it. Thank you. And next we have Peter Pumpkin to speak. Joe,
okay, Peter. Yes, I'm sorry, Peter.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm also speaking about Bocce Restaurant, and we've had noise problems with Bocce Restaurant at 8424 3rd Avenue since at least August of 2019. That's as far back as I have a service request number for a 311 complaint that I made at that time. So they have been playing very loud music from their restaurant for almost 2 years now. And they are certainly aware that they are bothering the local residents, people who live above them, people who live across the street. There's no doubt that they know that they're bothering us because the police have come over to tell them about it many times. They lower the music for 20 minutes and then they just crank it right back up again. And it literally sounds like you're living across the street from a nightclub with no roof. I mean, it is that loud. In December of 2019, at a CB10 meeting, Bocce was told to remove their outdoor speakers that they had installed on their exterior walls. They did remove them at the time. But then again, recently, Bocce decided to just install outdoor speakers again on their tents, on their outdoor seating area. I strongly doubt that anyone gave them permission to do so. And I guess their thinking was, well, a year went by, let's just try this again and just make a ton of noise and hopefully no one's going to say anything. So again, many complaints have been made and we had another meeting, or I should say a webinar on June the 15th, and we were made aware of the large number of noise complaints that have been made about Bocce Restaurant. And strangely, right after, 2 days after that meeting of June the 15th, 2021, on June the 17th, Bocce hosted another loud party with a DJ. So they clearly couldn't care one bit what CB10 says, what the local police precinct says, if the local residents are disturbed by their noise. They just don't care at all. And it's been 2 years now, and someone really needs to deal with this problem. I don't know what kind of solutions are available. I would like to see them, if it's possible, just be banned from having an audio system in their restaurant, period. Just not be able to possess one. Can't play music at all. That would solve the problem. And if such an order can be issued and they are consequently or subsequently caught with an audio system in their restaurant, shut the place down, either temporarily or permanently. In addition, I think it would just be a good idea if someone could say to them, you have to move, you can't stay here. There are locations where they can go and play their music a bit loudly and not bother anybody. So they can go to 86th Street between 4th and 5th Avenue. There's commercial space there, and there's practically no residencies. There's the Nathan's on 86th Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway, which is really out of the way. If this place wants to continue to be a noisy, disturbing, bad place that they are, and that's not exaggerating, they should move, and they should be told, you have to move. The next time you make noise, you're making it obvious that you have no intention to change and you need to move. And I don't know how possible it is to set that in motion, but that's really what needs to happen to this place, because they have no intention of changing their ways. They're just waiting for things to die down a little for the pressure that is on them right now. And once that dies down, they're just going to go right back to their old ways, and they're going to keep disturbing everybody who lives around here. So,
Okay, I thank you. I hate to cut you short, but we do have a time limit. So if there's anything quickly.
no, that was pretty much it. I was concluding with that. It would be nice if someone could actually do something definitive with that place. Thank you.
Thank you. And I thank you for speaking up. Now we have Eileen Loughlin, who has signed up to speak. Eileen.
Eileen, you should be able to unmute.
Thank you. My name is Eileen Loughlin. I was at Zio Toto restaurant on Saturday and this past Thursday, and it was horrific. I don't know what else to say other than it was like a circus from hell. On Saturday night, we were treated to 2 sports cars, a white one with a tail fin that had the that addition that sounds like the gunfire coming out of it. And then another orange sports car, and they just kept revving up and down 3rd Avenue. In addition, we had the local delivery bicycle back and forth on the sidewalk. Now he was going slowly, but it's still not safe. And in a way, I don't blame him because the streets weren't safe. It was just loaded with double parked cars. So I don't know what alternative this man had, but it wasn't safe for pedestrians. On Thursday, it was even a worse experience. We had a convertible that went up and down and just blaring music where it was so bad that it buzzed. All the music did was buzz. And then there were a few other cars doing that as well. We were sitting out on the street, and right behind me, one motorcyclist cut off another one, and there was a fight at my back. At some point, my fear is that someone will have a gun, and that's how they're going to settle the fight. This isn't a safe situation. And again, I'm echoing what Florence DIAZ said. There was no police presence. And I'm very concerned about this. This is such a safety issue. And whether it's on this, and again, it was the delivery man going back and forth on the sidewalk. At some point, someone's going to get hurt, whether from the street or from the sidewalk. And I'm very concerned about this.
Thank you for speaking up about the conditions you're observing on 3rd Avenue. And we appreciate the feedback. And now we have Salvatore Finazzo, the owner of Bocce.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Hello?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My boss is coming right back. I'm an employee at Bocce Restaurante. And just to answer a few questions, I do work here a couple days a week. And my boss is coming around now. Excuse me for 2 seconds. How are you?
Yes, go ahead, please. Is this Mr. Finazzo?
Yeah, Mr. Finazzo, Salvatore Finazzo.
Yes.
From Bocce Restaurante, owner of Bocce Restaurante. I'm sorry for my voice, low voice. I was not feeling well for the last few days. Just got back to the place. I'm so sorry for all the community. If they feel like then our music is too loud, and I just hired an engineer, acoustic engineer, to fix the place. And the place is problem is, in the place is it has an echo around the place. So when we put the music inside the place, it feels like it's 3 times worse than it is. So lately I've been putting the music down. The police, the cop, have been coming around, and they've been monitoring the place, and we've been working on the 50 decibel. So the gentleman who's working on it right now, on the engineer, is gonna do something about it. I'm so sorry for the lady upstairs, and he has a baby. She's been coming downstairs. I've been very polite with her, very nice. Everybody knows me in the neighborhood. I'm not here to cause any trouble to anybody. I'm just doing business. The vibe of the place is the music, yes. I've been putting the music loud, yes. Will never happen again. I'm so sorry. I'm not looking to don't let us leave people and don't go to work. I'm here to work too, and I have 2 kids home, and that's my bread and butter every day. That's what I do for a living. I do drinks, food, and atmosphere, and good time. From now on, the music will be very low. As soon as I fix the problem with that, there's an echo inside the place, but this gentleman is working on it, figuring it out, because it's an old building too. So what happened is that the ceiling where the speakers right now, they attached to the beam upstairs from the building. So the lady Carla lives upstairs that I know very well, and I've always been polite and nice to her and everybody around the neighbor. She feels the vibration of because they touch each other. They never made it like a space in between. We fill it up with the I spent a few thousand like a month ago when we started having a little issue with the music, whatever. And we fill it up with the insulation between, but it didn't work out. So the gentleman already, when he started working on it, he's already told me that's an old building. That's how they used to do the building. So it's a touch each other. Even there's a 10-inch in between, like a gap for upstairs. You still have to do like a foam inside, not insulation like regular insulation. And we're doing that.
We also like to add, we have currently no outdoor speakers, so they've been removed. And since then, every weekend, we have no police reports. And in the last community board meeting, which was made aware by every employee at Botch, we all watched the video.
Okay, well, we can, I mean, I believe that this is an item on our agenda. So, and we do have a time limit. If you guys want to just put in the last few words so we can wrap it up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lori.
Did we lose them?
No, I have them.
Oh, hello?
I'm sorry. They should be able to speak now.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for the community. We're not here to cause any trouble to anybody. We're just doing our business on food and drinks. We will not gonna put the music loud. And
we had a talk with our valet system as well. We have alternate parking in the street, so we had a conversation with them about double parking. We have no outdoor microphones at the time or speakers, so we're doing whatever we can to accommodate the people, the residents of the community. You know what I mean? We all want to be here. We all want to make business. We all work together in an honest way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay, and I believe that's it for the public session. Josephine, did we get everyone? That's everyone on my list.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. I think that's all that signed up.
Okay. I don't see any. I don't think we have anyone else.
Lori?
Yes, Habib.
Just two points, please. All the extensions that has been made into the avenues for these restaurants, some of these extensions are really abandoned and they have a lot of wood on the floor. I think we should bring this up to the authorities so they have to remove them. Second point is just another elaboration on these noisy cars. I have been working with the precinct. They apprehended the BMW yesterday. That convertible is a Mustang with Pennsylvania plate. Also, I gave it to the police. We need a little bit more assistance and help from the police and presence because they are blocking the bus stops, and they are really thinking that they govern the area. Josephine, please bring up this to the police attention. I am working with them. I brought it up to their attention, but we need a little bit more pressure because this is really going overboard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Habib. Okay, and this now closes the public session, and I move on to my chair's report. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 21st, 2021 General Board meeting. This is our last meeting before our New York City Charter mandated summer hiatus. And as I've alluded to in last month's report, we have a lot going on. So as such, this report will be a little bit longer than normal, and I beg your indulgence. I want to recognize some of our members, past and present and future, who have really donated so much to the community in their work for this board. As for our past board members, we will miss Susan Pulaski. Her passing came as a shock to all of us. She was one of our longtime hands-on members. We will sorely miss her as friends and colleagues and in our work here as a board. We also share in the grief of our past chair and board member, Joanne Seminara, and mourning the loss of her father. Sorry, lost it, okay. Sorry, may they both rest in peace. I also want to recognize and thank our past board member, Michael Devine, who's found a new home outside of New York City. He was a board member since 2018 and in his tenure contributed a great amount of his time and talent in gathering and preparing data, zoning for our Zoning and Land Use Committee, serving as chair on the 65th Street Corridor Subcommittee and working on the commercial needs assessment for our local businesses and being an active member of our board. I thank him and wish him well in his new home. We will also miss longtime board member Ida D'Amelio, who served since 2007, both as a board member and committee chair, and we wish her all the best. I now absolutely have to thank some of our current members who have really been going above and beyond what could possibly be asked of any person who undertakes this volunteer board position. Doris Cruz has been pouring her blood, sweat, and tears into her work on the pending zoning text amendments, and I cannot thank her enough. Our zoning committee members have also been giving it their all, and I cannot emphasize how important their work has been at this time. I also have to thank our special working group members, Ann Flutico, Barbara Germack, Steve Harrison, Stephanie Mahaney, and Dean Racina, who have voluntarily undertaken a great deal of painstaking work under tremendous time constraints in order to review and analyze the proposed zoning text amendments, in order to understand them and their upshot, and to summarize it for all of our benefit. For those of you who have not read and analyzed these text amendments, you really have no idea how much agony they are sparing each of us and how much their work is directly benefiting this community and how grateful to them we should all be. I also want to thank our TNT committee chair, Jane Marie Kapitanakis, who has also had a packed agenda and has handled it with aplomb. And also Judy Collins, our Veteran and Military Affairs Liaison, who attended the Department of Veterans Affairs meeting last month and will be covering those biannual meetings going forward. Her report will also be attached to these minutes. I also want to welcome our new board members, Jonathan Bova, Edward Yu, Senja Frangipani, Essa Masood, and Preston Ferriolu. Some of you may recognize the name of that last new member, as he has come before our board to speak on a number of occasions and is the son of past board member Liz Amato. I thank each of you for volunteering and I welcome you. Board membership is a great opportunity, not only to help your community, but to learn and grow and to meet some terrific people. And I hope you take advantage of all it has to offer. Last, but certainly not least, I have to thank our fearless and tireless district manager, Josephine Beckman, and her partner in good works, Dorothy Garuccio, without whose competence, dedication, and caring, we would never accomplish even a fraction of what we do here. I've seen how their diligence enables us to keep informed of what is coming and allows us to have our voice heard before the decisions are made final. Most of what we do is unknown to many members of the community. Yet they unknowingly see the results in so much of what they experience in their everyday lives. I can guarantee you that most of the members of our community do not know about the impending text amendments, the DOT traffic reroutings, and other items that you'll hear about in our reports, or how their effects will directly impact the everyday experiences in this community in the future. However, I do know that due to the vigilance and hard work of all our otherwise unsung heroes here at CB10, their lives will be better. Moving on to the matters which have been keeping us busy, City Hall is plowing ahead at breakneck pace with a number of matters sought to be completed before the end of the current administration. As mentioned, these include a number of major zoning text amendments and the DOT's major revision to traffic patterns on 7th and 8th Avenues from 39th Street to 66th Street. This board's considerable frustration and dismay at the lack of meaningful opportunity for notice and opportunity to be heard on these matters is shared by many boards, elected officials, and community partners across the borough and the city. Just today, Assemblyman Peter Abate, Councilman Justin Brannan, and many Asian American community groups held a press conference to address this drastic change to traffic patterns without community input and approval. And they presented a petition with over 10,000 subscribers who are against the proposal and who are asking for fair process. In addition, at the June 2nd Borough Board meeting, the members, including myself and Councilman Brannan, voted to send a letter to the City Planning Commission asking them to adjourn the hearing on these matters to October in order to enable community boards to perform public outreach and have these matters properly placed on the board's calendar for a vote. We do not yet have City Planning's response, but we will be following closely for it. I am, however, not very hopeful, as just hours ago, I learned that the City Planning Commission voted to make the open restaurants text amendment permanent and has referred the open restaurants text amendment for community board comment over the 60-day period starting July 17, 2021. Those 60 days start during our summer hiatus and end before our September 2021 meeting. As I shared in my previous report, when community board chairs were invited to a presentation on this amendment, it was quite clear that the rules for this program were far from complete, and many questions as to how it would work could not be answered. The district office is already receiving calls from members of the community who are feeling the unwanted effects of the implementation of open streets and open restaurants without community input and without any real plan. Community members have called with concerns about patron safety, pedestrian, and driver safety. Due to the virtually unregulated build out of dining structures in the streets, there have been cars double parked on both sides of the street, leaving very little room for traffic to pass, as cars and cyclists alike squeeze by on the roadway. Cars blocking crosswalks, cars idling outside establishments, and serious pedestrian hazards. Members of the community have been experiencing noise into the early hours of the morning as restaurant patrons dine and drink on the sidewalks and streets until 4 a.m. Unfortunately, no one consulted these members of the community or the community boards or our local elected officials about these new permissive rules, so they are just left to suffer from the ill effects. There are no true set of regulations, so there can be no enforcement. As I've mentioned before, the lack of appropriate process, notice, and citizen input is a matter of serious concern, not just to the functioning of a democratic process, but because the upshot is that you may experience significant changes in your quality of life, safety, mobility, and business. And apparently by someone's design, we are almost at the point where it's too late to try and stop or undo it. Ordinarily, at this point in my report, I'd be wishing you a happy summer and seeing you in the fall, and I'm hoping to see you in the fall. However, this is not an ordinary time. So while I do wish you a happy and safe summer, and you can blame the current mayor and the City Planning Commission for this, I may be seeing many of you before the fall, as we need to do our best to make our voices heard by the city before these changes are enacted. I will leave you with the hope that this type of action will not occur under the new mayor, and ask you to do what you can to make sure that the new administration understands that cutting out the voice of the city, of the people of the city, is not okay. Thank you for attending this meeting, and I hope you remain safe and well. Respectfully submitted. And now we have the district manager's report. Josephine?
Thank you, Lori. Good evening, board members. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank our chair, Lori Willis, for your wonderful report and for your leadership this past year as chair of the board, as well as our officers, and congratulate you all in advance. I want to take this opportunity to also welcome new board members who are appointed and express my appreciation for your service, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I wanted to share with Community Board 10 members that the district office too was very sad to hear about the passing of our beloved Community Board 10 member, Susan Pulaski. Susan called the district office weekly without miss, and we last heard from her Thursday before she passed away, seeking to serve on the Zoning and Land Use Committee's working group. Since our last meeting in May, there have been many more COVID-19 restrictions that have been lifted. Many board members have asked about future changes to the open meeting laws as it relates to the return to in-person meetings. We have certainly been fortunate to have this Zoom platform and learned so much about this new technology over the past year. And as soon as we get information about upcoming meetings this fall and whether we can resume some form of in-person meetings, I will let you know. I just want to give a quick shout out to board member Dan Haddix, who also has been very helpful to the district office team with tech assistance, and just a shout out, a thank you. Another sign that we are slowly returning to some normalcy is that the district office has received 25 block party applications for the summer, and more residents are calling us up each day. Typically in the normal year, we receive about 60, so we're on our way. There are notable changes to the new New York City Open Streets program. Community board review and consultation was completely removed from this new program. 12 of 18 community board district managers signed on to a letter to the New York City Department of Transportation Commissioner Gutman, as we were briefed on the new program, noting the exclusion of community boards from the application process. In fact, the Street Activity Permit Office computer system, which shows us what pending street activities are open, currently does not show the Open Streets program for our access. In the New York City DOT Weekend Walk program, which is what we've had prior to COVID-19, community boards were a community partner. CB10 worked with organizers and helped coordinate agency review. Our Traffic and Transportation Committee met with applicants, discussed the event, and also together agreed upon hours of operation, and were able to address many concerns, including compliance with state liquor authority regulations and, of course, noise concerns. And we had gotten to a point where really very successful events, and that was really the result of true collaboration. The New York City DOT Summer Open Streets program, as I mentioned, does not permit community boards to hold a formal review process. We cannot stipulate hours of operation, amplified sound, or other agency matters such as Department of Sanitation street cleaning before and after, as Open Streets is currently not funded to its organizers. Fortunately, the Community Board 10 members and district office team has an excellent working relationship with our merchants groups and bids. And so we have been working hand in hand throughout this new process. So we are as I was putting together my report, I received a call from the MTA as I reached out to them last week following questions about the bus reroute for this Friday's Fifth Avenue weekend walk. Our community partner, the Fifth Avenue bid, did not yet receive word about rerouting, and the MTA New York City Transit confirmed they had not yet been notified by New York City DOT, but based on our outreach, spoke to their planning division, and the bus will be rerouted along 4th Avenue. As I was working on my DM report, I did receive an email informing Community Board 10 of DOT's approval for the Open Streets program on 5th Avenue, just informing us. And we did reach out to the 5th Avenue bid and have had several conversations about the event. And we will be having a cabinet meeting to speak to agencies about planning for this Friday's event. The Fifth Avenue Open Streets will be taking place the last Friday of each month. So the first one is June 25th. From 72nd to 74th Street, 75th to 78th, 79th to 81st, and 83rd to 85th Streets. So this is going to look a lot different than the the Weekend Walks program. It's designed differently in nature, but I know the Fifth Avenue bid has had several meetings, and they're very excited about participating. And we do wish them well, and we will be working with them. As Lori mentions in her report, the district office is now hearing from many members of the community who are feeling the many unwanted implications of open restaurants and are seeking help from our office, their community board. And we will be working and discussing this in the weeks and months ahead. Our next general meeting of Community Board 10 is scheduled to take place on Monday, September 20th. Unless we have to have a meeting before then, we will let everyone know, as this date may change due to the citywide text amendment schedule. And I also wanted to mention quickly that the 68th Precinct Community Council will be meeting this Thursday, 7 p.m. Virtually on Zoom. And that information was emailed out in our newsletter blast, but we will also send that out and post it on our website. I'd like to wish all members here this evening a happy and safe summer. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Josephine. And now we have our treasurer's report with Shirley Chin.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi. So the treasurer's report as of May 31st, total personal services is $212,906.02. Total other than personal services, we have $11,067.13, leaving an unencumbered budget balance of $21,193.45. So wish everybody a safe and wonderful summer, and I'll see you all in September. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Shirley. And now we move on to our committee reports. The first being Police and Public Safety Committee report with Barbara Vellucci. I think you're muted, Barbara.
Bad traffic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, okay, there I see something now. Okay, I don't know what happened. Okay. So we have a new application for restaurant, wine, beer, and cider for Cavatappi Incorporated. It is located on 8024 3rd. You're not doing that one.
I am doing that one. That's fine. I'll just have to get to it. That's all.
No, I'll stay with you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Just give me a moment.
It's fine.
Okay.
Whatever you like.
Okay, I have Cavatappi up. Okay.
Okay, great. It is located at 8024 13th Avenue. It is a new application. The owners are David Bayardi and Stefano, also known as Stephen Diomede. They were both present at our meeting on June 15th. There is a C of O and it is being updated. In the application, there was a typed menu, photos of the restaurant of the progression during construction showing hardwood flooring and chandeliers. The floor plan was provided. There will only be background recorded music and there will be outdoor use. We asked that on the application that the NA be changed to yes regarding keeping all doors closed and that there will be no smoking on the sidewalk. After a discussion period with the committee and the owners, the committee's decision was to move to deny this application unless the owner agreed to the following stipulations. The premise will operate as a restaurant. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premises until appropriate authorization is issued by the SLA, and bring your own booze is not permitted in New York State. The hours of operation will be Sunday through Saturday at 7 days a week, 10 a.m. through 10 p.m. The doors and windows are to remain closed in coordination with any amplified music. There will only be background recorded music, and the sound level will be remaining below the level permitted by the New York City Noise Code. There will be no music on the outside of the premises, and the noise and lighting will follow New York City regulations. The licensee shall not have any promoter or have any promoted events. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be at least 20% visible view at eye level into the establishment. The applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation, it will give notice and meet with the community board and committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. And the applicant has agreed to all the above stipulations, and the committee approved, and yes, there was a quorum. So we asked that the board sustain the committee's decision.
Okay, so the motion is on the floor. Do we have any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Habib.
It's a comment and a discussion. Really, the more we issue these licenses to these restaurants for liquor and people to drink, is the more of the complaints we're going to hear from the neighbors. And I know that there is not much that we can do, but I am wondering if we could, is there a way to keep our conditions enforced for a period of time that is a little bit longer than the opening or the 2-3 months? Is there a way that these rules and these conditions that we implement on the owners should be followed as long as they are open, as long as the business is running? I don't know if that's possible, really.
You're saying, so the stipulations that the owner would agree to do become part of their liquor license for as long as they have the liquor license functioning at that premises. I'm not sure if that's your question.
This is my comment, exactly what you just put it in a better way. How can we implement all these sanctions or the conditions, stipulation, whatever you want to call it, as long as he is operating? Because once you heard what happened about Apache. You know, the owner is respectable and everything, but this is happening everywhere.
It is a question of enforcement.
Yes.
And, you know, we are not an enforcement agency, so we do refer to our enforcement agencies, which in this case are mostly the police department and the SLA. So I do share your concern about that. But this does become part of their method of operation under their liquor license. And so, you know, not only are they governed by all the other rules that govern an establishment in the city, but through the SLA, these things would go against their liquor license should they violate them. And again, the concern is enforcement, and I share your concern, Habib.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else? Any other questions, comments on this application? I don't see any hands.
There are 2 hands raised.
Doris,
Doris,
I was
please.
going to say, Habib's concerns are very important and need to be addressed, but they do not pertain to this particular application. And I think we should address them at a different time.
Okay, and Anne, I don't know if your hand was raised from earlier or if your hand is raised now.
It was raised from earlier.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you see anyone else, Joe?
No, I do not. I'm going to put up the poll. Okay, so this is for board members. Board members only.
So we're taking the vote now, and Josephine will share the results after everyone votes.
Okay, so for new board members, all you have to do is click either in favor, oppose, recuse, or abstention.
And submit.
So for new board members, I apologize. We've got a number of new board members. So what we're voting on is, what we're saying is the committee voted to, and the way we phrase it, we say disapprove this unless they agree to all those things that Barbara spelled out. So in non-technical language, you're saying that you're voting in favor of it with all these stipulations, the different things that they agreed to on limiting noise and hours and things like that. So if you agree with the committee, you're in favor, you're against, you're opposed. You can abstain or recuse yourself if you have an interest.
Okay, Joe, how do you vote?
In favor, Josephine.
Okay, the motion carries.
Very good, thank you. Barbara, you want to move on to the next item?
Yes, I do. We have a new application, let me close this, for liquor, wine, beer, and cider for Red Fortune Seafood Restaurant. This premise is located at 6508 through 6510 11th Avenue. It's two storefronts together. This is a new application. The owner, Jonathan Choi, was present. He's also co-owned with Henry Fang. The attorney, Terrence Flynn, was also present. There is no C of O, but there is a letter of no objection, as this was part of the La Sorrentina Pizzeria establishment. The application included a menu, photos of the restaurant under construction, but does not show the appearance of this establishment ready for business. There will be 10 tables with 36 seats, one bar with 8 seats. The floor plan was provided. As this establishment is 2 stores wide, there will be tables on each side, approximately 5 tables on each side, meaning in each storefront, with a sliding door to pass through. The karaoke room is in the back with soundproofing. There will not be dancing. There will not be security. There may be private parties. There will be outdoor space used following the New York City COVID protocols. The applicant has noted that he has not read the New York NYPD nightlife recommendations or noise restrictions, but the attorney, Mr. Flynn, will provide that to Mr. Choi. The hours of operation will be Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., and Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. through 11 p.m. After a discussion period, the committee's decision was to move to deny this application unless the owner agreed to the following stipulations: that the premise will operate as a restaurant. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premises until appropriate license is issued by the SLA. Bring your own booze is not permitted in New York State. There is a letter of no objection on hand. That the owner or manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be as follows: Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., and Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The applicant will not sublet the premise. The doors and windows are to remain closed in coordination with any amplified music. The background recorded music and/or music sound levels will remain below the level permitted by New York City Noise Code, and soundproofing will be maintained in the karaoke room. There will be no music on the outside of the premises, and noise and lighting will follow New York City regulations to ensure the quality of life for nearby residents. The establishment shall not sponsor or use any promoter or have promoted events. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be at least a 20% visible view into the establishment and the karaoke room at eye level. They shall operate only as a karaoke lounge restaurant, and they will comply with all New York State Liquor Authority rules and regulations concerning music and noise. They will comply with all licensing requirements of the Department of Consumer Affairs. They will utilize a sign on the exterior of the establishment that describes it as a restaurant, bar, or karaoke lounge. They will not utilize any sign that uses the term music club or nightclub. No dancing shall be permitted in the premises. There shall be no live band or DJ music permitted in the premise. There shall be karaoke permitted only in the karaoke room. Only pre-recorded music or background music shall be permitted in the main dining areas. The applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation in the floor plan, they will give notice and meet with the community board and committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. The applicant will appear for a 6-month review to address any additional concerns. The applicant has agreed to all of the above stipulations and the committee approved. So I ask for a motion. Well, I present the motion to confirm the committee's report.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor. Anne, I see you have your hand up.
I question the karaoke function, which seems to be in contrast with a restaurant with only 8 bar seats and very modest and respectful hours. I would urge them to drop the karaoke function as it's an immediate risk for noise, and especially that it's a karaoke room. The noise will be concentrated in one spot just below residential apartments, which, as we heard tonight, causes heartache.
Okay, thank you, Anne. Robert Oliva, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Lori. Barbara, at one of our previous meetings, I remember another restaurant right around the same location putting in for a similar license. Was that original Sorrentino restaurant split into 2 different businesses? And is this separate, or is this replacing what we had already discussed? I'm just interested in knowing that.
No, there was nothing. We didn't discuss anything else going there. La Sorrentina had bought up most of the block. And then finally they moved to just the corner, which is now Bonacera.
Okay, yeah, that's the
Right.
restaurant that I'm. Okay,
Right. That's just a corner pizzeria. And they have the two stores on the corner. This is right smack in the middle of the block, right across from Faico Pork Store.
Excellent. Thanks for the clarification, Barbara.
Okay, and I see Senja Fragapani has her hand up.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm a little concerned with the karaoke issue, especially since Diker on this end has a lot of seniors. How are they going to handle, noise control? Did they put into the plan, to do surround sound, to block that out if they're going to be doing karaoke, especially since around the corner?
We had asked them, may I? We were.
Yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah, we had asked them about the sound because it's a small room in the back of the store that when facing the store, it's the store on the right, where it's like opposite the kitchen. They do have soundproofing. And before COVID, they said, I didn't know, they said that they were opened without liquor, of course. And they claimed to be on friendly terms with the tenants. And they would check with the tenants to see if how the noise was. So they claim they are having soundproofing.
Okay, I see, Anne, is your hand just still up from before? Do you have another comment? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Iris Muley. Go ahead, Iris.
Hi, sorry, let me so that I can see you too, or you can see me.
Oh, gotcha. Hi.
In circumstances like this, the people living on the street are notified of that this is coming before the board. I'm curious to know if any residents, looking at the picture, people do live above this, if any residents came to the committee meeting to make any statements for or against.
No, there was no resident there. And I think this place is a little bit different than the other places that we've had before, considering that there's only room for, like 50 people in total, and they're only expecting about 36, rather than, they're claiming 75 and people are in there and it's a deserted area. There are only 5 tables on each side. So I think this is going to be a very smaller type of establishment.
Okay, I have a question, Barbara, about how big is, you may have said this, about how big is the one karaoke room?
I don't have the floor plan in front of me. I don't think it's that big.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was small.
Okay.
I believe it only held 8 people.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other?
Have any of you been to a Chinese restaurant with a karaoke room? Because I have. And I think it's kind of a standard addition to their business model.
They claim it's cultural.
Yeah, so we're thinking of it as a noisy, and it really isn't. I mean, I've been at, I always remember fondly the day Joanne were in the primary, we went to a karaoke bar. We sang in the back of a bar, and it wasn't noisy and raucous. It was one microphone and some singing, and because it's recorded music, it's not really that loud. So I don't know if one karaoke room is cause for alarm. And proportionate to the size of the restaurant, I don't know. I've been to a Korean one, and my staff, and we had a wonderful time. And I don't think we raised the roof. So
All right.
I don't know if we're overreacting.
Okay, I see we have a lot more hands up, and I'm guessing that these are people who also want to confess, like we have, that we've been to karaoke.
Before you take other people, I made it very clear to the attorney and to the owner that our experience with karaoke places have been disastrous.
Yes.
And the attorney said he knew all about it, but this, he assured us that this was not that type. I don't know, it just seems like it's very subdued. It's not at the end of a park or the entrance of a highway where it would bring in, some of our nefarious characters. I think they're claiming that they want this to be more of a family type of establishment.
Okay. I see Wei Jing has her hand up.
Hi. Yes, I'm guilty of going to have Lori.
We are together. I'm just going to
We are
admit it.
together. We are guilty. Usually, I mean, I am Chinese, number one. And number two is, just to make that clear, I have been to these karaoke types of restaurants, and I think normally they're all soundproofed, right? And because it's just one room, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It would be different if if the entire place was like, there were multiple karaoke rooms, then I could understand, there would be a
You don't have cubicles that you can't see.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, it is part of the culture, people, like to gather in groups and just continue to have fun. So I think the natural thing for them to do after dinner is to go to a karaoke room and just kind of, bang out a few songs and then leave and then go home. So I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think this establishment should be okay. I don't think there's gonna be any noise issues from what I see. So anyway, those are just my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. And now we have Dan Heddix. Dan,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm acknowledging that as well, Wei and Judith. And honestly, like when done well and it's easy to soundproof a room correctly. It's hard to soundproof a whole restaurant, but a single room is a little bit easier. And usually the only noise complaints that come from that are from my friends because I sing terribly. So when done right, those are the only noise complaints that should come in.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Now we have Doris. Go ahead, Doris.
Okay, I appreciate all of your comments because I think they're very constructive and on point. However, in Community Board 10, we have had a history of karaoke establishments that have been problematic. It's not that they're noisy, there were drugs involved and other criminal activities. So I think it's incumbent upon the board to be cautious in looking at karaoke establishments. And I think this is small and seems appropriate to the space, but we should always err on the side of caution.
Okay.
Because remember, we've got a lot of new board members don't remember how bad some of the karaoke establishments were and the crime involved in some locations.
We brought that up right at the beginning of the meeting. And you could
I just wanted to bring it up for more people.
No, at the beginning of the meeting with the owner and the attorney about our experiences, but you can see with the floor plans and the amount of people they're expecting and the way it's set up, it's very different. And I don't want to lump all of the karaoke places into one one category because we've had several bad experiences. I think that this one will be one that they will follow the rules.
Okay, and now Habib, you have your hand up.
Just a clarification on cultural issues. Karaoke is as cultural as hookah for the Arab community. And the hookah was invented in China. So the rest I leave to you to think about.
Thank you, Habib. Okay, and now I don't see we have any other hands up, so I would like to call the question. So Josephine, if you could put up our polling feature. So the motion on the floor for our newer members and some of our older members is, are you in favor of the committee's recommendation to deny the application of the liquor license applicant unless they agree to all of those stipulations that Barbara listed? And I should let you know that this has all those stipulations that were listed have all been discussed with the applicant in advance, and they have told us that they do agree to do that. So, so if you're in favor of that, if you're in favor of giving them their license with all these stipulations they've agreed to, you would mark in favor. If you're against that, it's opposed, you can recuse or abstain.
Joe, how do you vote?
In favor.
Okay. We had 31. We had 32. Okay. Okay, the motion carries. Share results.
Great, okay, excellent. Barbara, you've got one more.
Yes, we do. This is a report. Josephine Beckman also assisted in putting this report together. And I just want to say that when I first began working on the Police and Public Safety Committee about 2 years ago, we had some of the same complaints with Bocce Ristorante about the music speakers on the outside. And Mr. Finazzo was very apologetic. I went to the establishment, he took the speakers down, and then the speakers were returned. And I just wanted to say that. Okay, so the renewal of Bocce Ristorante located at 8424 3rd Avenue. It's a state liquor authority on premise, which means it's liquor, wine, beer, and cider. It's a full license, was discussed. District Manager Beckman presented adverse history to the committee about Bocce Ristorante from January 2021. That's 6 months ago through the present. The district office received renewal notice on June 9th. The applicant's SLA license expires on June 30th, this month. And therefore, the notice should have been received on or before May 31st. Bocce, once again, is located at 8424 3rd Avenue. It is a corner business with outdoor dining now that expands 60 feet on the frontage of 3rd Avenue and approximately 30 feet on 85th Street. It is located within the commercial overlay within the residential district and surrounded by many residential apartments. The district office received over 12 video clips with pleas from neighbors seeking relief from late night and early morning noise. 3 video clips were shown to members of the committee. We heard from one resident about Vision Zero related complaints, blocked crosswalks, double parking, and several neighbors pleading for help, including a young mother and the 17-year-old student. They shared stories of many of their neighbors who were viewing the meeting and were present to explain the issues for all neighbors. It is important to note there were 30 residents watching the live stream at the time of the meeting, and several reached out to our office the following day to express their appreciation to Community Board 10 for hosting the meeting. The New York City DOT Open Restaurants program no longer permits hours of operation on the sidewalk or curb lane. However, in Bocce's SLA application submitted as part of its submission in 2018 to Community Board 10, Bocce agreed to operate as a restaurant, open until midnight, with only background dining music delivered through the building and ceiling speakers. No other amplification. It now operates well into the early morning hours, some nights up to 3 a.m. with loud amplified music and patron dancing. Many residents described its club atmosphere, street festival on a New York City sidewalk in comments to the members of the committee. And I want to reiterate that there were videos of people dancing, and it truly was like a nightclub atmosphere in the restaurant. There were several unsuccessful efforts to reach out to the owners and management of Bocce. At the April 2021 meeting of the 6-8 Precinct Council, Community Council, the commanding officer indicated that the 6-8 Precinct sent its officers to speak with the owner management. The Police and Public Safety Committee members also viewed clips showing all doors and windows open, cabaret, loud music, and the music was blasting with open windows from across the street with no patrons in the restaurant. The PPS members also viewed a video that showed fireworks being set off by patrons of Bocce and a clip with loud music and patron dancing once again. There were out of 37 of the 260 calls to 311 that complained about Bocce not adhering to phased reopening violations. That's 260 311 calls. In fact, the SLA issued 2 violations relating to phased reopening. The first, November 13th, 2020, and Bocce was fined $20,000. And the second issued on January 13th, 2021, which is still pending. In light of all of the above, a motion was made to deny the renewal application and to ask our elected officials to assist in communicating to the New York State Liquor Authority that this establishment has disrupted the quality of life of nearby restaurants, demonstrated a total disregard of the phased reopening guidelines, as well as employees and valet that block crosswalks, use amplified sound on the public street and sidewalk in violation of CB10 stipulation agreement, and is creating a disorderly environment that is constantly impacting the surrounding residential community, and the motion was carried. So I ask that this committee approve the committee's recommendation for that.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. So now the motion is on the floor and we will open this up for discussion by the board members. So if anyone has any questions or comments, just please use the raised hand feature. And I don't see any.
I'll share the phone.
Oh, I see Ruth. Ruth has her hand up. Go ahead, Ruth.
My understanding was that at the meeting, in addition to recommending denial of the license, we also made some decisions about writing letters to various organizations. Like we were going to accompany the our denial with a letter to the New York State Liquor Authority. And were there other measures that were recommended as well?
Barbara, were there any other recommendations?
Well, we're writing to the SLA to deny, and we're asking all of the politicians to also back us up with the SLA and with the police department. And we discussed with the police, you know, when you defund the police and they have to prioritize, sometimes there are violent things going on in the city that they are redeployed. So we're also going to be speaking to the police. We have spoken with the police captain about really monitoring this because this cannot continue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Judy?
I would just echo that besides the response to the SLA, we have to really maybe have the police see these videos that were shown because the enforcement, even if we got the SLA, as Habib said, you know, once these are in these agreements are in all of the liquor licenses that we have been passed through since since Steve Harrison created them as an agreement, and enforcement has not changed. And that's really, I mean, Florence Diaz said it. That's where we have to put our work and our effort in as
Right,
a companion to this.
Right, and Josephine has spoken with the police captain, and we did have our public affairs person there. You know, and I don't know what Josephine knows, and I don't know if it's going above heads, but I've also recommended to her to perhaps take an outside task force to come and on certain nights to come and check it out.
Josephine, our situation on 3rd Avenue could become as serious as we experienced on the Christmas lights in a different kind of way, but the intensity of the gathering of people and the pent-up excitement about being out, I think is going to make this summer very interesting. We have to get ahead of it.
Yeah, and as you could see from those photos, it's very residential, you know, the area. And we really had pleas from at least a dozen, residents across the street on both sides, as well as above the establishment. Really pleased to the community board. We received so many video clips that, we showed 3 during the meeting, one more disturbing than the next. We had some that had, from a bedroom across the street that had music blasting, and there was no patrons at all in the restaurant. Others showed just a festival atmosphere outside with very loud amplified music that were taken at 3 a.m. We had videos of patrons shooting off fireworks in the middle of the street. So it was very upsetting to many of the members of the public who came and really sought help and relief from the community board.
And don't forget, this is ongoing. This is not a one-night event where, the owner wasn't there and it was a mistake. This is ongoing. And this is from before 2021. This is probably 2019. We had discussed this with him.
Okay, Steve Harrison, I see you have your hand up. Steve, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I just go back to something I say frequently with these things. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And the simple fact is, you're not going to get different results here. It's time. You've got to do something about it. And I'm glad Judy brought up about the fact that, I believe in these stipulations, but the stipulations are meaningless if they don't mean something.
They're not enforced.
So,
Right.
Exactly. So, this is our opportunity and our obligation, in my opinion, to enforce it in favor of the people of this community. So I will happily vote here against that.
Right.
establishment.
We had one resident, say a $20,000 fine. That's one night's income. That doesn't do anything because this is ongoing.
Okay.
I don't think 20,000 is a very frequent fine. I don't think so. Much less.
Doris, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, I think, we're talking about enforcement, and the possibility of enforcement or lack of enforcement is demonstrated as where is the 68th precinct on this Zoom meeting? Are they involved and do they care? So I think if we look talking about enforcement, it's not happening because their commitment is not here. Because they are not here tonight.
Okay.
They were at the meeting. They were at the meeting.
They're not here now.
Okay, but they are defunded and they are redeployed. If you really want to notice, Mr. Finazzo was not at the meeting, which he knew, and he did not come to our committee meeting.
But he has his hand raised right now.
Okay, do we have this discussion right now is open to committee members? So is there any other questions or comments? From anyone?
It's Joe. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Joe. Yes, go ahead.
I think we really have to do our best, actually, to enforce this, because I think it'll be an example, because a lot of the other restaurants are getting out of hand too. Third Avenue is going down with these restaurants, and they've given more freeway all this during the pandemic, which to survive. But I think a lot are taking full advantage of it. And I think we have to show enforcement to maybe some of the other ones will pull back on their antics that they're doing.
I understand what you're saying, but no other restaurant is as outrageous as this one right now.
No, I agree with you, Bob. I agree with you. But I think it'll keep the rest in line.
Okay.
Call the question.
Yes. I don't see any other hands up. There's no further discussion. So we are calling the question.
I just want to say, excuse me.
Oh, go ahead, Ruth.
I saw a comment that Mr. Finazzo wanted to speak. Is he present?
Raise his hand.
He does. He says his hand. He would like to say something. He's present. That keeps on coming as part of the chat.
Okay.
Well, I think he should have the opportunity.
Josephine.
Supposed to be.
Speak earlier.
He did speak earlier during public session.
Okay.
But I think you should let him respond.
It is improper. The community board is speaking now.
That's right.
So the discussion on the motion is for the board members after the committee report. So, I mean, and I don't, no board member has directed any question or to the owner.
I would like to hear from him just once. I think we should give him the courtesy of a response. Just to keep our record clear that he was allowed.
Yeah, and Laurie, he was allowed earlier.
Maybe out of order, but I'm just expressing my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
It was allowed
earlier. Procedurally, it would not, I mean, the discussion is always, when the motion is on the floor, the discussion is for board members. Again, we have our discussion. He did speak earlier, and no board member did have a question for him. I do see that Julie Thumb has her hand up now. Go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, I wanted to first of all reiterate, yes, he was allowed earlier to present his case. So as far as I'm concerned, that's over. But the second thing is, so now we vote and the license is not renewed. So that means he's shut down, or what exactly happens then?
No. So our vote.
Clear.
Yes, so we only serve an advisor in an advisory position. Our vote is only to tell the SLA, you know, it is our opinion, you know, based on these facts, that it should not be renewed. However, that is by no means the end of the conversation as far as the SLA is concerned. So this is not an initial application. This is not a 500-foot rule hearing. So the SLA can look at it and they can look at the history and they can make their determination.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but an outright denial also has a lot more strength with the police department. If and probably when he gets his renewal, probably a little bit later than he would like. That the outright denial from the community holds a lot of weight with the police in case more things begin to happen, correct?
I don't think.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is that directed to me, Barbara? As I don't really think that the police department actually looks at whether or not we outright denied it, but what they do take into consideration many times is the history of the premises in terms of what they hear from the residents when they do come to the police and public safety meetings, which I do know from having served as chair of that for a while. They do come and attend, and they usually have a pretty good idea of which places are causing a lot of problems. And if the places aren't on their radar,
it is now.
They end up being on the radar from hearing, you know, the feedback that we provide for them, which is really part of our function.
And it's a shame because I hear only good things about the food there. It is a good restaurant.
Hey, Laurie,
Definitely.
Yes, Dean. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Dean.
I have my hand up for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know this is a little irregular, but due to the nature of the motion, I would not object giving the gentleman 2 minutes because of the nature of the motion.
You know, I don't want to stand on ceremony, but which we normally don't do. This is getting long and drawn out. So I'm happy to give him 2 minutes. Joe, if you can
Laurie,
set that up.
Laurie, my hand is up.
I'm sorry, Habib, go ahead.
I think once the public session is over, all non-board members should not be streaming through our meeting, because this should be to the board only.
I will say, in fairness, you know, there have been plenty of meetings where, you know, when we're there in person, where we do give the applicant an opportunity to speak. And quite frankly, I am hesitant to stand on ceremony to not give this gentleman the opportunity to speak. I hope that he doesn't say over again what he said before. He did have a very lengthy time. So again, 2 minutes and let's go. Josephine, can you please cue him up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'd like to just say thank you very much for allowing me to speak. You know, I really
Is this Mr. Finazzo speaking?
My name is Michael. I'm speaking on behalf of Mr. Finazzo.
Okay, do you, I'm sorry, no. Can I just ask you, what's your relationship to the establishment?
I'm an employee here, Mr. Finazzo.
No good.
Okay, we would really, I mean, we were asked that Mr. Finazzo speak, and now we're not.
He's here right now. He's in the building. But
So
on
if he
the,
could speak, I would appreciate that. And we'd
I
like to
told
hear
my
from
boss
him
and he's
because it
running,
is
but
his liquor license.
I understand his liquor license. And Mr. Finazzo gave me permission to speak on behalf of him.
No,
So, and
that-
I
this
really
is
appreciate the 2 minutes.
Lori, if you-
No, guys.
Good.
No.
Put 'em
Go
all.
ahead. Excuse me.
No.
Everyone mute yourself who isn't speaking. Go ahead, sir. You've got 2 minutes.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and
Okay,
clear. I'd
thank
like
you
you
so
to
much.
proceed.
So first, I'd like to speak on the firework occasion. Those were patrons of Bocce, but I had no control of the fireworks. I went out there when they put them on. Myself, I worked there. I was a host. I said, "Can you please take the fireworks?" Once they finished, it was over. There was nothing I could do to stop that. As for the speakers outdoors, they've been removed. My boss said he's doing everything in his power to accommodate every resident and the people that come to Bocce. So he hired an engineer because the way the building's set up, that the people upstairs, late as a kid, and the people around, he wants it to be happy so they can live there, and there's not a noise complaint because the beams are set up in the speakers. Also, you know, there's no more loud music after a certain time. The atmosphere is built on the food, the drink, and the loud music. But my boss is deeply sorry, as am I. I'm speaking on behalf of my boss. He gave me permission to do this. So I want to apologize for everybody. Barbara, you know, we watch every meeting. Last weekend, I'm sorry we weren't present, but me and every staff member watched the meeting. The 6A precinct also does make very frequent stops at Bocce. So, you know, the police officers themselves, they come, they say, lower the music. If we have to lower it, my boss has no problem accommodating it whenever they ask. Even if we lower the speakers, just to make it indoor, I can close the doors, do whatever I can to make it peaceful for everybody. And as for the residential area, I understand there's a lot of residents, but we also have Cebu, there's Tota, there's Sophia, who also has music. But my boss said he'll do anything in his power. The 6A precinct says comes lower it, we lower it. I don't know if anyone's saying that we lower it for 10 minutes and put it back up. I myself have control of the speakers. So anytime someone comes up to me, they say, "Michael, my name is Michael, I work here." They say, "Can you please lower the music?" I lower it every time I'm asked. This past week has been very good for Bocce. I believe we're making big steps in being a part of the community and abiding by everything you say. You know, we all want to live and make money together and have a nice business and provide a service to everybody. So, you know, I thank you for giving me the 2 minutes to speak. You know, I understand you just want to, you know, make an appeal to refuse the liquor license, but it is a large part of the business. You know what I mean? And there's no outstanding occasions that there's been a problem with people under the influence, anything like that. I think it's very controlled. Atmosphere is not crazy. You know what I mean? We have no more parties since then. Even this past weekend, there was a Sweet 16. After 11:30, the music was lower. The DJ had to leave. My boss wanted to accommodate for everybody so the people can go to bed at a reasonable time. And even if there is music, it was loud enough. We speak to the residents upstairs. My boss was very deeply sorry. He said, if there's anything I do to accommodate, I'll do anything for you. We spoke with the valet owner of the business about the double parking, about where he puts the vehicles and the crosswork. So that little girl who spoke in the meeting last week has no problem getting where she needs to go, and that the people on the road have no problem. Again, we spoke today with the valet guy after we had the meeting earlier.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to cut you off in the interest of time. I think you've got everything in there and a little bit of what you had also gotten in earlier. So now I'm going to call the question.
Thank
So
goodness.
Josephine, if you could put up the polling feature.
Lori, may I just say a comment
I'm
to
calling the question.
Call the question.
I'm calling the question. We've had discussion. I think we've heard enough on this, and everyone's getting restless. So let's get this on the table. Joe, if you could put up the polling feature.
Yes.
Yes, could you tell us how we vote? How do we vote? Which one needs
In
what?
favor of the denial.
In favor of the denial.
Josephine?
Yes. Are you in favor, Joe?
In favor.
Okay.
Joe, it's Michael. I don't have the polling feature here.
I don't know why.
Neither.
How do you vote, Michael? How do you vote?
Opposed.
Opposed to the denial?
It
I'm
came
sorry?
on my screen earlier, but I don't know if it was for this question.
Do you have it? It's on my.
It had gone up a little earlier to everyone.
Right.
Okay.
So Michael,
Then I
just to
guess
be
I
clear.
voted.
So Michael,
Mike-
just, yes. I'm sorry, go ahead, Barbara.
No, just to be clear, Michael, you're voting opposing the denial of the liquor.
No,
license.
I agreed to the denial.
All right, so he's in favor.
You're supporting the motion.
Yes.
Okay, anyone else not have the polling function and wants to vote? Okay, so I'm going to end polling and then the motion carries with. Okay, motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good job, Barbara.
Excellent job, Barbara.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Lori,
you're muted.
You're muted.
Good. Sorry. Okay, we're moving on to, thank you, Barbara. And we're moving on to the Traffic and Transportation Committee report with Jane Marie Kapitanakis.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to share one thing. Yes, this is an updated memo of our agenda items. Josephine, just to once again remind everybody, you were going to be mentioning about the New York City Streets Master Plan. That update was not available at our Traffic and Transportation meeting.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
My order is a little
Yeah.
bit different than what's on the screens, but I'm gonna just keep it going. So the first item we had on our agenda was from the Department of Transportation addressing the neighborhood loading zones update. The New York City DOT's Neighborhood Loading Zone NLZ program aims to reduce double parking on narrow residential streets by providing space at the curb for activities such as package deliveries by commercial vehicles, taxi and car service pickup and drop off, and active loading and unloading of personal vehicles. As demands on the city's limited amount of curb space continues to grow, trucks, delivery vehicles, and personal vehicles need safe ways to access the curbs while not blocking traffic, including bus routes or in bike lanes. Once again, their goal is to reduce delays and increase safety. This program seeks to use no parking regulations to reallocate curb space from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday and reduce the number of double parking incidents as well as other unwanted standing behaviors, creating a safer and more efficient environment for all road users. The NLZ are about 40 feet in length and may be in front of a residential building. They are usually on the corners of a block, but they may be mid-block. The zone length may be shorter or longer if it includes a fire hydrant. This does not replace parking meters, and the time may be adjusted, such as from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Vehicles can park there when the zone time is not in effect. Committee members raised concerns regarding open streets on 3rd Avenue, and the DOT welcomes community feedback on locations. The NLZ should meet the more specific needs of the neighborhood and the demand. There is an NLZ portal for outreach and informational materials. There are currently 24 NLZs in Brooklyn, and spring 2021 is phase 3 of this project. The DOT does not have specific sites in mind in Community Board 10. If community members wanted to see what the NLZ looks like, the nearest ones are located in Sunset Park from 48th to 51st Street, between 4th to 9th Avenues, depending on the street. DOT is opening up a suggestion map for Brooklyn Community District 10, encompassing our neighborhoods of Bay Ridge, Dyker Heights, and Fort Hamilton, or these neighborhood loading zones. The neighborhood. The map will be live for about a month, closing in mid-July. And I see that Josephine has up a little bit more of that information from the DOT's website. So this piece was informational for you. Next, we had a DDC presentation regarding the Owl's Head Greenway Connector project. About 61% of the work has been completed. The completed work includes sidewalks on 2nd Avenue and 65th Street, concrete steel-faced curbs on 2nd Avenue between 62nd and 65th Street, installation of catch basins and chute connections, and building the street foundation on 2nd Avenue between 62nd and 65th Street. The project was originally set for completion for September 2019, but in October 2018, it was discovered that the proposed 48-inch sewer did not line up with the manhole and fell too close to the sheeting line. At that time, the work was stopped and meetings were held to update their plan to adapt to the road condition. In February 2019, the DDC approved plans to relocate the manholes to avoid the conflict. The change order was registered in March 2020 and work resumed. Anticipated work includes a gas main on 2nd Avenue, new sewer lane on 2nd Avenue, extending combined sewer on 2nd Avenue and 61st Street, steel-faced repair and paint on Wakeman plates, traffic cable, and of course, milling and paving. The new completion date is January 2020. And our last item was a street naming request for Ralph Sciano's Corner. This is the southwest corner of 92nd and 3rd Avenue. This was our second meeting, which warrants a committee discussion and vote. As previously discussed last month, Ralph Sciano was a beloved businessman and family man. The Sciano family opened the Marine Market in 1938, and the store operated for 61 years on the corner of 92nd and 3rd Avenue, which is now home to a Starbucks. The Marine Market was described as an original gourmet market known for top quality produce, specialty items, and outstanding customer service. As the family and written testimonials described, Mr. Sciano spent his life in service to the community, and they request the honor and to recognize his contribution with this street naming. The committee members voted and all approved of this street renaming and are making this recommendation to the full board. Do we have any questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, the motion is before the full board. And Josephine, I believe we're ready for our Zoom voting.
Okay. Okay, the polling is up.
In favor, Josephine.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, motion carries. It's unanimous. And I know the family is watching. Lori.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This concludes our traffic and transportation report. And of course, we also wish everyone a very happy summer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jane Marie. Okay, and now we're moving on to our zoning and land use committee report with Doris Cruz.
Thank you. Good evening. The Zoning and Land Use Committee met on May 26th and on June 16th. And there were also meetings of a smaller working group to discuss the various text amendments. For simplicity, I will combine the discussions of the two full committee meetings and the working groups. That will simplify the report, and I will not be jumping from subject to subject. The first item, a nice item on the agenda, the easy item, was a presentation by the 74th Street 400 Block Association asking for the community board support for their request to the Landmarks Preservation Commission to have a large portion of the block designated as a historic district. Members of the block attended Community Board 10's community meeting on how to apply for landmark status. They were also inspired by the recent landmarking of the 75th Street Bay Ridge Parkway 400 block. They also noted their interest in limestone Brooklyn from other parts of our borough. The applicants enlisted board member Henry Stewart for assistance in preparing a statement of significance. The houses on the north side, the odd number south side, were built in 1909 by developer Irving Helper. Some of the houses on the south side, the even number houses, were built in 1909 by Boyd H. Wood. 5 more houses on the south side were built the following year. The historic district would include houses on the north side of the street and some on the south side. The houses have similar cornices, detailing, and other architectural details, and have not been modified in any way to change their historical significance. The motion was made to support the request. The motion was seconded. At this time, the committee was not in quorum, so we have a recommendation from the committee, and I asked for a motion to support the recommendation and a second.
So we need a second.
We need a motion first because we weren't in quorum.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, who was that?
Dan.
Dan.
Okay, thank you.
It's Joe. I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion. Any discussion, any questions, any concerns? All in favor? Joanne, should we vote?
I'll just say it's a beautiful block, and having 2 sets of matching row houses on either side of a block is very rare in Bay Ridge. It's beautiful.
Right.
So.
Okay, the polling
Okay,
feature is
thanks,
up.
Dan.
In favor, Josephine.
Okay, we got you, Joe. Thank you. Okay, so motion carries.
We like those.
Thank you all.
The second item on the agenda was a review of the hotel text amendment. This was discussed at the last meeting, and there were several questions that needed to be addressed. I had concerns about the CA triangle and C42 zones and any zones within 1,000 feet of an entrance or exit to an arterial highway. Those areas would require a special permit. Also, if a permit had been filed but expired, any new refiled permit would need to comply with the new regulations. Department of City Planning confirmed that the C8 and the C4 and other zones were included, and a motion was made and a motion was seconded. The motion met in quorum. But before I ask for a vote, following the meeting, our neighboring board, Community Board 11, brought a section of the amendment to our attention. The amendment says, it states, the amendments shall not apply to the following: a transient hotel operated exclusively for the public purpose of temporary housing assistance by the city or state of New York, or operated by a non-governmental entity pursuant to an active contract or written agreement with any agency of the city of New York, specifying such a purpose. But there is more that this paragraph covers. I believe we should consider it carefully. We can approve the text amendment and disapprove the section on housing assistance. This section appears to remove community review from the siting of any homeless shelters. The section of concern is 32-02, special provisions for hotels, transient hotels, as listed in 32-14, use group 5. The committee discussed this section at the June 16th meeting. And just as community boards have a role in the sightings of schools, so they should have a role in the siting of homeless shelters in their communities. A motion was made to support the hotel text amendment, only if this clause is removed. The motion was seconded and approved by the full committee that was in quorum at that time. So any discussion, any comments, any questions? So just to make it real simple, the committee supports the hotel text amendment, which allows, hotels can only be cited with a special permit, but we do not approve the carving out of hotels for transient use. So therefore, we only support it if that section is removed. Do I have that, guys?
Okay.
Thank you.
So the polling feature is up, there being no discussion. So if everyone can vote now.
In favor, Josephine.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, motion carries in favor, unanimous. Thank you.
And the third one on the agenda was a review of the Health and Fitness Text Amendment. You will be hearing several acronyms in this discussion. DCP, Department of City Planning, HFT, Health and Fitness Amendment, and PCE, Physical Cultural Establishments. Health and fitness establishments, PCEs, are gyms, day spas, massage parlors, and yoga studios. Under current zoning, these establishments require a special permit to open. A special permit allows communities to have input in hours of operation, visibility, and much, much more. This text amendment would remove any community input in the siting of gyms, spas, massage parlors, and yoga studios of less than 10,000 square feet. The hotel text amendment specifically says the proposed action would categorize facilities dedicated to physical fitness and health limited to 10,000 square feet in floor area per establishment as use group 6 and use group 14. It would allow smaller gyms, martial arts, and yoga studios and spas to open as of right in all commercial and manufacturing zones. Physical fitness and health facilities that are unlimited in size would be categorized as use 9. The text amendment describes establishments as 10,000 square feet or less as smaller. For a bit of perspective, a standard storefront in Community Board 10 is 20 feet by 100 feet, 2,000 square feet. An establishment of 10,000 square feet would be the equivalent of 5 storefronts. In a community such as ours, that is not small. This text amendment would make spas and massage parlors community facilities like medical offices. Day spas and licensed massage parlors could open as of right in commercial districts and in residential districts of R3 and up. Yes, on your block. They would not be restricted to commercial areas. The siting of gyms, yoga studios, and martial arts facilities and the like would be allowed in the as of right commercial corridors and as of right in residential districts in certain circumstances. Some background for new members. And I want to note, and I may be repetitive, but that is because I want to help everyone understand the background and the concerns. Massage parlors have been a problem in the past because they can be human trafficking locations. Community Board 10 has worked with several agencies to close massage parlors and day spas that were human trafficking sites. Massage therapists are licensed by the state of New York, not the city of New York. Without community review at the beginning of the process, which would be the special permit, there is very little oversight. There are a very small number of inspectors statewide from the Department of Education to monitor these establishments. These establishments also often have street crimes and some violence associated with them. The special permit is the only enforcement tool available to the city of New York for massage therapy locations that are problematic. Because human trafficking takes place behind closed doors, one condition of our community board has often requested is that there be transparency, that the inside of the establishment be visible from the street. Without the special permit, there would be no way to have that requirement. The Department of City Planning, during their presentation and in their text, says that massage parlors could operate under the supervision of a licensed massage therapist. The text amendment does not define what this means or how it would be enforced. Does a licensed therapist need to be on the premises or merely have trained workers? We need clarification on this. The committee has also concerns because of the illegal uses of some day spas and massage therapy sites. It has no concerns at all about legally operated day spas and massage therapy sites. Gyms have long hours, sometimes 5 a.m. to midnight. They also have loud music accompanying their exercise routines. This is problematic in a multi-use building. Removing any community input at the beginning of the process may create problems. Also, the special permit allows the community board to work with the establishment on the location of HVAC air conditioning equipment. I recall lengthy discussions with residents concerning a gym located on a commercial street whose rear faced the rear yards of residents on the next block. These neighbors cited numerous complaints about air conditioning units and the impact on their quality of life. The special permit gave the community board the ability to negotiate with the PCE, physical cultural establishment / gym, to help their neighbors. I would also note that CB10 has not denied a special permit to any physical cultural establishment. That is some history, now some committee concerns, and they had many. The committee understands the need to help small businesses. We know that they are an essential part of our community, and we have concerns about empty storefronts. Because this text amendment would have serious impacts on our community, and because the city of Newark is giving community boards very limited time to review the amendment, I asked for a small working group to meet and discuss the details and make further recommendations. Several members will read and meet, and their concerns and comments have been incorporated into this report. Among the issues discussed were how PCs evolved. What is now a karate studio or a yoga studio could decide to add exercise equipment like Soul Cycles and other large weight equipment, and how that would impact their neighbors. The community has memories of CrossFit on 3rd Avenue in the 80s and the negative impact on the area. There is general support for easing the barriers to small establishments in general. However, this text amendment is too broad and too sweeping. The working group was confused as to whether gyms and other physical culture establishments are allowed in residential areas. DCP's answer was as follows. Health and fitness uses may be allowed in clubs so long as the club is not for profit and expressly indicates in their club charter that activities and facilities of the club are for members only. As someone noted, you can have a not-for-profit and people involved in it can be making lots of money. A not-for-profit could be allowed in a residential zone. Some committee members felt that this was vague and could be subject to interpretations that would negatively impact residential areas. There was overwhelming concern about the inclusion of massage therapy in the community facility category and the negative impact this could have on quality of life, from crime to impact on property values. At the June 16th full committee meeting, a member of the public also commented on the 10,000 square foot designation as small. He noted 10,000 square feet is large. Again, there is a desire to help small enterprises, but this amendment is too broad and cannot be supported. The committee voted not to support the health and fitness amendment. The committee was in quorum. I'm not done yet. Sorry, guys. The committee recommended we do a thorough response, and District Manager Beckman put together a very detailed analysis response, and we have a simple summary of our objections. Dear Chair Lego, at a duly publicized meeting held on Monday, June 21st, members of the Committee Board 10, Zoning and Land Use Committee, voted in support of a motion to vote no on the health and fitness amendment at this time due to many concerns raised during our review. We understand that the driving force behind this effort is to remove regulatory burdens associated with the BSA special permit requirement in place for gyms, spas, and licensed therapy studios. We disagree that it is no longer a needed civil enforcement tool to address some specific concerns related to crime, noise, and other quality of life matters facing our district. Additionally, while we do not support owners' regulations that hurt small businesses, we do believe that many of the requirements currently included are necessary to ensure consumer and worker protection, as well as to maintain the quality of life for all community members. It is positive that DCP is looking at ways to help small business. However, this proposed action is too broad. Many retail shops in Community District 10 are within the C1 and C2 overlay, and a small section are within the C4 and C8 districts. They are very different within the C1 and C4 within the heart of the residential district, comprising of small storefronts of approximately 1700 to 2,000 square feet on the ground floor. It is for this reason we believe further study is required. Specifically, we ask that you review the following concerns. Standalone massage therapy businesses and other health and fitness related establishments should not be allowed to operate as of right in residential district, commercial facility areas. The proposed action adds a provision that will allow standalone massage businesses and some health and fitness establishments to operate in the residential district. The standalone massage therapy business model in Community Board 10 has been plagued with unlicensed massage therapists, concerns about human trafficking and serious crime. Therefore, shifting this business model to use the community facility use is of great concern. Many operate into the late night, early morning hours, and should not be allowed as of right in the community facility category. Additionally, we assert that accessory use makes sense for a freestanding community facility within a residential district, but that area must be strictly limited. The new definition of unlicensed physical treatment establishments and the removal of the special permit requirement removes special enforcement tools. It is unclear if the new definition for unlicensed physical therapy establishments is adequate to address unlicensed standalone massage therapy business along the expanded retail corridors or within newly allocated residential properties. The PCE, physical cultural establishments, mechanism to confirm if an applicant held a New York State license would be removed. Further, New York State license website is difficult to navigate without specific information. And historically, the committee has asked that the license of the therapist be prominently posted, and that has never been enforced. A 10,000 square foot business should not be included as a small business, and there must be a way to hold for smaller facilities to same noise regulation as those specified for larger facilities. We suggest that only facilities of 1,500 to 2,500 square feet or less be exempt from the special permit for gyms and related uses, provided the instructional space is of so many square feet and that the visibility to the store is 3/4 of the way in the floor plan. If less than 25% of the space is dedicated to offices, this would create a space for the opportunities and legitimate small businesses. They should be subject to the same noise regulations. I'll take a deep breath now. The motion was made to not support the health and fitness text amendment. The motion was seconded, so we have a motion on the floor, and I ask for comments and concerns. And I also ask for members of the Zoning and Land Use Committee to join in with some of their comments if I missed anything. And because I know there was a lot of detail to absorb, so.
Okay, so I don't see any hands raised at the moment. I have one. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know we're all tired. I heard a lot about the elite non-licensed versus licensed, and I'm still not entirely sure how the amendment harm. I thought that it only affects licensed parlors, not unlicensed. Is there something in the amendment that maybe I missed that makes it more difficult to keep unlicensed parlors open, where most of like trafficking and illegal operations actually occur? Or
with the removal of the special permit.
But do illegal operations also need to get a permit?
Yeah, so that's how
Yes.
the Department of Building, so basically the answer is yes, because right now there is no regulatory mechanism to confirm other than the Department of Buildings. So the Department of Buildings goes out to see if it's licensed or unlicensed. So without a local regulatory mechanism, you know, how do we confirm if an establishment is licensed? So now you're moving that ability within a residential unit. So what we're saying is, you know, and there's been legislation proposed that hasn't been passed. The New York State Department of Education has a website. It's not easily navigatable. You know, I mean, we have not been able to get a state education enforcement person out here ever in District 10. So the Department of Buildings has been that confirmation agency for us, and that now is removed in this text amendment. It was replaced by unlicensed, but we're still not really sure what kind of enforcement teeth it will have. That's the objection, Dan.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, and I have to commend the Zoning and Land Use Committee. You threw yourself into this, and I know that was a long, difficult report, but it was as easy as we can make it.
Okay, I don't see any other board members with their hands raised. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just wanted to say bravo to Doris. She did a great job on that, I thought.
Well, I did not work alone. You guys were there, and I got great input from Anne in the last couple of days. So, and for anyone, if you think you might want to be a chair, the person who's got your back all the time is Josephine. Josephine, she's there to help you, to do more research, to help you. So this was a huge effort on part of the Zoning Land Use Committee and the Community Board. And this could have very negative impact on our community and many other communities.
Okay, all right, so just taking one last look, I don't see anyone with a hand up. So the motion is on the floor, and we therefore will be calling the question. Joe, so if you want to put the polling feature up.
Just remind us about what the question is again.
Doris, would you like to state the committee's
Do
motion?
not support the health and fitness text amendment, to vote no on the health and text test.
So if you're voting in favor, you're voting in
Voting
support of the committee's recommendation.
In favor, Josephine.
Thank you. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you all. In favor.
And I thank you all for your patience, because that was a difficult report to listen to.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think that concludes all Doris's work for today. Thank you, Doris. And now we
Sorry, zoning guys, we got more work to do, and we might need some TNT people to help us.
Okay, now we have the Parks Committee with Diane Gennardis.
Henry Stewart, I'm sorry, Lori, is going to be giving the report. For
Henry?
Hello. Yeah, Diane couldn't make the meeting, so I was acting chair.
Great, thank you.
So yeah, last week representatives of the Parks Department came to present their plans for the reconstruction of Russell Peterson Playground on Colonial Road between 83rd and 85th Streets, adjacent to the Fort Hamilton High School athletic field. It's a $5.4 million project funded by Councilmember Brannan. The designer explained that his goals were to separate better the areas for adults from the areas for children, to improve the circulation, to upgrade the equipment, to add seating areas, and create a more welcoming perimeter and entrances. The basketball and the handball courts are not part of this redesign because of financial constraints. So they're going to seal the entrance that exists on 83rd Street and replace it with a new entrance at the corner of 83rd and Colonial Road, which will lead directly to the crosswalks there. The two entrances on Colonial Road opposite 84th Street will be combined into one entrance. And Inside the new corner entrance on the left, there'll be a shaded seating area. It'll overlook play equipment on the right for children ages 5 to 12. Behind that will be 4 bays of swings, including 1 accessible bay. Down the path on the left, there'll be new equipment for children ages 2 to 5. Across the path will be painted games, and behind that another 4 bays of swings for younger children, including again a bay of accessible swings. Inside the 84th Street entrance, you see here on the right, there's an area for water play. On the left, there will be a seating area sort of in line with the comfort station. And then between this seating area and the basketball courts, there'll be a new shaded adult fitness area. There's going to be a new 8-foot fence up between the playground and the high school athletic field, and a new 4-foot steel that'll be built around the perimeter. And within the park, there will be 2- and 3-foot steel fences, and there will be 5 new lights placed along these 2 main circulation paths, in addition to all of the existing lights. There was some disappointment that the handball and basketball courts couldn't be a part of the project. They said that there is sort of tentative internal planning about what they might do with those things, but there's nothing, and thus the project can't move forward. But there's nothing in the present plan that would conflict with a future plan for the courts. All of the water, electric, and drainage lines are going to be built up to the edge of the basketball court, so that the new work will be relatively easy. They are going to add a new reduced pressure zone device to the comfort station, but otherwise they won't be upgrading that. There were some questions about whether these new gates could be locked at night if necessary, because there has historically been issues here with vandalism. And they said, yes, the new gates would be lockable. However, the perimeter fence is going to be a little shorter than it is now to make the park seem more welcoming. There was a question about a floor piano that's present in the park that it was believed was perhaps for children on the spectrum. That will not be replaced, but there will be a lot of sensory panels in the play areas that would replicate the floor piano's play value. So the timeline, they said they'll be doing contract drawings for about another 6 months. And then it goes to the Office of Management and Budget for about a year, and then construction will start. So if everything goes according to plan, the ribbon cutting would be in about 2.5 years. But they said, you know, because of COVID, a lot of construction projects are a little up in the air. The work won't be done in phases. The handball courts and basketball courts should be able to be kept open during construction. And also the Fort Hamilton athletic field courts should also be renovated by then, and construction shouldn't overlap. So yeah, the committee voted unanimously to support this redesign, and we were in quorum. So that's then on the floor. And are there any questions or comments?
Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So I think we are ready to vote.
Okay, bear with me. Okay, vote is up.
Favor, Josephine?
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, I'm going to end polling. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Henry. Okay, and now that concludes our Parks Committee report, and we move on to the nominating committee. So now it is time to affirm the slate of officers for fiscal year 2022 as presented by the nominating committee at the May 17th board meeting. And I call upon the secretary to cast one vote to accept the slate. The slate is Chair, myself, Lori Willis, Vice Chair, Jane Marie Kapitanakis, Secretary, Sandy Vallis, and Treasurer, Shirley Chin. So Sandy?
I cast one vote for the slate as presented.
Thank you very much. And I congratulate all the officers. That brings our committee reports to an end. Brings us to old or unfinished business. Does anyone have anything they would like to raise with regard to old or unfinished business items that we have previously discussed. I do not see any hands up, so that would bring me to new business. Does anyone have any new business, anything new they would like to bring up that we have not discussed this evening? Anyone? We have nothing. So seeing that no one wants to talk about anything else, I would call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Sandy, I have Shirley, I have Julie, and a second, Carmen. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful summer. I know I will be seeing some of you actually very shortly, so I'll see you real soon, and the rest of you have a great summer. Thank you.
Have a great summer.
You too.